Hi, my name is Tidas, and that's my brother Mihin, and we'll be talking about social media today. And we're studying in Australia, and we would like to share some of our thoughts about social media and the use of social media by the younger generation. So, do you use social media on a regular basis?
I would say so. I use social media like Instagram, Discord, Twitter, like almost every day.
Yep. What do you use these social media apps for?
I mainly use social media like Instagram to talk to my friends and apps like Twitter to keep myself updated on daily news.
Yep. And do you think there's any positive effects or negative effects of social media?
I think there's both.
Yep.
So negative effects could be like it could promote very different ideologies and harmful thoughts towards the new generations.
I would say there will be some harmful ideas that are pushed towards the younger generation. So some people would try to create I would say like an idea, and they would use social media as a tool to instill into young people's minds. Do you think that's the sort of thing that would be harmful about social media?
Yeah, I think so. That's happening like on a daily basis.
Yeah,
on social
and
media.
what we need to do is that we need to use social media as an educational tool rather than a tool that lets social media use you. So you have to be very intelligent about using social media. So how do you go about protecting yourself around social media? Do you have any precautions that you take?
I try to avoid social media drama and avoid getting myself into situations where I would be threatened or feel like I am bullied or stuff.
Yep. And what I would suggest you is that to be aware of the things that you see on social media and don't take it on face value. If you see something on social media, you should further investigate it and read up more on about it and then see what's going on. Don't take things at face value. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. So that's something that we would suggest to you guys. So if you see something on social media, don't take it on face value. Just read up on about it and investigate more about it. And be sure to read about something from a variety of sources so that you don't have the same perspective of the same story from every single person. So make sure to have a variety of perspectives on the same story.
Yeah, I think you should be more researched and you should not believe everything you see in social media, as a lot of the news can be fake and controlled. So what do you think the positive effects of social media is?
Yep, so social media has a lot of positive effects as well. So social media is a good way to get caught up on the daily news, so the current affairs of the country or even the world. So what social media does is that it connects a lot of people together in one place, and it helps you interact with your friends, know about the current affairs of the world. So it's a good place to connect with other people, and I guess that's a positive effect of social media, so that you can connect with like-minded people, talk to your friends, and if you have any ideas you can share it so that other people can read up on your ideas and see that it's a good idea, or other people can look at your idea and say, oh, these are some improvements for your idea. So that's a really good positive effect of social media. Do you have any other positive effects?
I would say mainly you could use it to talk to your friends and catch up with them if you can't see them on a daily basis face to face.
Yeah, that's a really good point as well. So sometimes in this more global world, you would have friends from other countries or even other states or other in the same country but then like a very long distance. So that way you might not be able to interact with your friends every day, and social media is a great tool for you to talk to your friends, interact with them, and keep that friendship going even though you're far apart. And have you got any other ideas that what social media can do?
I think social media can create ideas that could be innovative and inspiring towards the younger generations, but it could also create ideas that are harmful and that can let down the younger generations.
That's a really good point. So you're studying in Australia. What would you say is different about the education in Australia compared to Sri Lanka?
Well, Australia is a very multicultural country, and you could meet a lot of different people from around the world. And the education-wise, schools tend to use a more advanced, technologically advanced approach to teaching, and they allow students to use more varieties of computers and iPads to enhance the teaching.
Right, and a good point about what he said was that there is a lot of multicultural societies in Australia, and you can use that to your education. There's also a multicultural society in Sri Lanka because there are a lot of cultures that are living together in Sri Lanka. So in our education, we should be able to take ideas from other cultures and learn to coexist with those ideas and learn to coexist with those cultures. So in Sri Lanka, what we should do is that we need to get ideas from other people as well and not only base something on our own idea. So a good thing to do is to consult other people, consult other cultures, and have a not have a narrow-minded perspective about something. So that is something that is good about this education that is in Australia. And for people who are studying abroad, who are wishing to come back to their motherland, should use these educational tools to help improve our motherland. And what would you think there should be some improvements to the Sri Lankan education?
Well, I've only studied in Sri Lanka for up until grade 3, and I haven't had much experience in the Sri Lankan schooling system. But since you studied up to grade 6, I think it will be a better perspective of we get your opinion.
Sure. So in my years of schooling in Sri Lanka, I believe that Sri Lanka could use a more narrow, a more wide perspective, a wider perspective for the education. So we could use textbooks not from just from Sri Lanka, but textbooks from other countries, ideas from other countries, so that we would have a multicultural perspective towards the issues that we're facing on a daily basis and to the socioeconomic state of the country. So it is a good idea to connect to the world globally rather than using ideas that are only local. So that's a good improvement that could be done for the Sri Lankan education system, as well as the Sri Lankan education system should give more freedom to the students to study what they want, because if the students study what they're passionate about, there would be more results, there would be more yield in what they're studying. If the students are studying what they're not too passionate about, they will be more stressed about it, they will not be as inclined to study about it, so it would not be as effective for the students to have compulsory subjects that are not attractive to them. So it is important that the education system needs to allow the students to study what they like and give them that freedom to pursue what they like, pursue what they're passionate about, so they can make a considerable contribution to the country's society as well as the globe.
So what about the Sri Lankan schooling system? What in particular did you like about it?
I liked the fact that it was very multicultural and it was very interactive. You would talk to your friends on a daily basis and you would have a very good relationship with your teacher. The teacher would always follow up on about what you've done on a daily basis, and they would be very encouraging. But it is also important that the students are given the freedom to do what they like. So I also like that you had the choice to choose subjects when you were in grade 6. I wasn't very familiar with the years after grade 6, but I believe that the Sri Lankan education system, while it is great, can have more improvements. So what do you think are the effects of social media on education? So you're studying right now and you're using social media. So do you think there are any effects of social media on your education?
I think there's both positive and negative effects, but mainly the positive effects would be that you could talk to your friends and communicate with them about the homework or about the schoolwork if you had any questions. And if you have to work in a group, you can always communicate using social media if you can't always meet up with them face to face to do the work. But a negative effect would be that it is often very distracting. Social media can lead you astray from your education, and it can often cause you not to focus on your schoolwork as much as you should.
That's a very good point. So he gave a positive effect of social media on education, which was that you can interact with your friends after school, outside of school, so that you can consolidate what you've learned that day and get some help if you need some help with the homework. Or if you're doing group projects, you can use social media to communicate with them and interact with them and keep the progress of the project going. And social media is a very great tool to communicate not just with your friends, but also with your teachers as well. So you can use email to communicate with your teachers and clarify any doubts that you had about the lessons that you learned that day. Or you can even text message your friends and ask some questions from them about the lessons you've learned. But there's also some negative effects of social media on education. So say after school you go home and you're on social media for 4 or 5 hours a day, and then you would not have some time to do your homework or to revise the lesson that you learned that day or study for a test that is coming up. So it is very important that you put some limits, time limits to the apps that you use, to the screen time that you dedicate on a daily basis. So it is very important that you don't distract yourself on social media, and you should be able to put a time limit for yourself and discipline yourself not to go on social media for an excessive amount of time, and limit yourself with the time that you use social media on a daily basis. And what do you think social media can do for your education? What are some effects, or what are some ways to assimilate social media and education together? Say, for example, if you're using social media for a lesson, how would you use that? Do you have any ideas?
You could use social media to look up some news that is relating to your topic, or you could catch yourself up on information, as social media is a great tool for information. You could find new articles and you can find posts about the latest and current events, and you can use that in your studies and your social life, and you could use that for topics and school research.
That's right. So using social media gives you a very global perspective on the things that are happening in the world. So it gives you a very global perspective on the current affairs of the world. So using social media for your education, you can get ideas from every single place of the world, and it would help you create your own idea that is sourced from a variety of ideas, and use that idea to make a change in this world. So you can make a change in the country, you can make a change at your home, you can make a change locally, and then you can make a change globally. So I believe that social media is very important for your education, so that you can always get different perspectives on the issues that we're facing on a daily basis.
But you always got to remember to limit yourself so you don't overly access and focus on social media instead of your studies. Because if you do that, then you will lag behind in school and you will not be able to catch up with the studies that you're doing on a daily basis.
That's exactly correct. So you need to discipline yourself not to overly depend on social media. You need to also use other sources as well. There are very original sources such as your parents, your teachers,
newspapers.
Newspapers, or any other role model that you can look up to, so that you can get their ideas as well, and not just social media. And as he just mentioned, you need to put yourself, give yourself a time limit that you use social media, because social media can be very helpful as well as very harmful.
It is also has a harmful effect on your mental health.
That's right. So if you use social media for an excessive time on a daily basis, it can have negative effects on your mental health. You'll be addicted to social media, you'll be depressed because of the things you're seeing on social media. So you should be able to control yourself, discipline yourself not to go astray when you see these things on social media. And if you do see these things and you feel like your mental health is being affected by social media, you need to limit yourself of the exposure that you give yourself to social media, and seek help if you need help. That if you need help with the things that you've experienced on social media. And it is important that if you do feel like you're being harmed because of social media, definitely seek help and limit yourself from social media. And this brings us to another point of the violence that social media instills into young minds. So social media has that impact on young people to make them a little bit more violent. It's just not social media, it's also games and other stuff as well. So people would need to limit themselves and discipline themselves when they see violent things on social media. So what do you think social media has? What do you think of the effect of
social media? Is a platform for it's a huge platform for bullying, and if you're not careful, you could fall prey to that. So there's a lot of cyberbullying happening on apps like Instagram, Twitter, where you could say anything and you couldn't get away with it because of the anonymity. And you have to be careful when you're on Instagram or any social media to be careful and take precautions so you're not falling prey to bullying or anything else that is harmful for you.
That's right. So if you're feeling like social media is affecting you negatively, you need to take a step back, think about what's going on, and make sure that you can discipline yourself to limit yourself from the violent thoughts that you get from seeing this type of stuff on social media, or the things you experience on social media. And it is definitely important for you to seek professional help or get help from a trusted adult, such as a parent or a teacher, or even a sports coach if you trust them, if you're feeling negatively affected by social media. And I hope that our thoughts have been very helpful for you. And as always, as I've said before, don't fall prey to just one idea, one thought. Always refer to other sources and other variety of sources. And we need to contribute to the society, not just the local society, and the world society, to make the world a better place. And we will come back to you with more thoughts and more ideas in a different video. And have you got any concluding ideas?
So I think it's important to stay safe on the internet and social media, and you should not let social media affect your education or your in real life social life. You should not let social media affect your family or friends. On that note, I think it's been a great message that we're trying to promote, and I think that we will see you on a different video.